44-10. That tells the entire story of the Houston Texans win over an undermanned Baltimore Ravens team. Hello, everybody. I'm Jason Bristol in the KHOU 11 newsroom as we are getting your reactions following this blowout in Baltimore. The first time a Houston Texans squad has ever won there. Again, we are taking your comments. What did you think of this victory? Granted, the Baltimore Ravens are banged up, playing without their superstar quarterback as well as a number of other important players. But the Texans did what they needed to do, and the scoreboard, what you see, is the result. Let's look at some of the statistics here. From the box score, C.J. Stroud, one of his best games statistically as a pro. 23 of 27, 244 yards, 4 touchdowns, no interceptions. And as always, after every game, we are taking your one word. I have a blank screen, I have a marker, and we're ready to go. So let me know, what is your one word to best describe this game? I know what I'm going to say. And let's see what all of you out there have to say. Ooh, that's an interesting one as Justin is weighing in. Good to see you, Justin, on this Sunday. I think we're going to have an abbreviated show today. We may or may not hear from the Texans in Baltimore. If we don't get them, we will have that tonight on KHOU 11 News, as well as on Sports Extra coming up at 10:30. Let's see. Darla's checking in. So Justin says momentum. I wrote dominant. This was a dominant Texans team in many ways. Momentum is a good one as well. Steven says dominated, so I think that's also kind of in the same family, so I'll put an arrow. So we got dominant and dominated. I just missed what Darla had to say. They showed up and showed out. Okay, so she's got beautiful. That's what we have thus far. I think they all apply at this point. Again, when you go back here and look at the stats, Nick Chubb, 11 carries, 61 yards, including the 27-yard touchdown. Woody Marks, who has been receiving, and well-deserved, a lot of publicity over the last 10 days. He had 7 carries for 24 yards, but really, they didn't need him. Christian Kirk, 4 catches, 64 yards. Dalton Schultz, 5 catches, 60 yards. Nico Collins, 4 catches, 52 yards and a touchdown. Xavier Hutchinson, 3 catches, 18 yards, including, I believe, his first NFL touchdowns. Jalen Noel also, his first NFL touchdown. It is pretty incredible to see this Baltimore team, given the Baltimore teams the Texans have met in the past. Of course, last year was the 31-2 beatdown on Christmas Day. And Derrick Henry, not just with Baltimore, but with Tennessee, has run over, passed through, and around the Texans in the past. Get those team stats. Texans outgaining Baltimore 417 yards to 207. Let's see what Justin. Rhythm. Yeah, just have to get CJ in a rhythm and keep him there. Yeah, this has been a magic potion, if you will, facing the Titans and now the Ravens. In many ways, I think I wouldn't want to have this bye week right now because now things seem to be clicking. And as mentioned before by you, Justin, you have momentum. You have some momentum. But right now we have dominant, momentum, dominated, and beautiful. Those are the words right now. Baltimore Ravens, is this right? It is right. Rushed for 44 yards. Without Lamar Jackson, you need some kind of rushing attack, and they have nothing. Also, Baltimore penalized 9 times. That's not going to help. I think dominating, I think those, or dominated, I think those are the words that definitely sum this up. These defensive stats here. They showed up. The Texans took the Beyonce Bowl game last Christmas to heart. Yeah, I mean, it was mentioned on the broadcast about how DeMeco Ryans had watched it again, and it wasn't good. Are you guys feeling much better about this Texans team now? Because I'm still not 100% there. I'm getting there, but I just wonder if this is about the level of competition, because you've now faced in these past 2 games arguably the 2 worst teams in the NFL. Claude says believe. All right. So I assume you believe? I love the fact that DeMeco is giving the young guys a chance, which is something, Justin mentions, which is something we did not see earlier in the season. And maybe that has something to do with it. Maybe these fairly high draft picks, Ariante Ursary aside, these guys are now finally getting involved. And maybe that is part of what we're seeing here. You guys drafted them high enough and obviously thought a lot of them, but they were non-existent in the first couple of games. So are you feeling better about this team now? Knowing that you have the bye week and then you have a trip to Seattle Monday night on the horizon. And around the division, man, those Colts, they were blowing out the Raiders. Let's see what the final ended up being. 40-6. 40-6 is the final. And how about you Saints fans out there getting a win? New Orleans beating the Giants 26-14. There's one over there. Titans right now are facing the Cardinals. Buccaneers and Seahawks. Cowboys getting a win over the Jets. Aaron Glenn remains winless as the new coach of the New York Jets. But I imagine DeMeco Ryans at the podium will say we did it all in all 3 phases, aside from punting, which they really didn't need to do. I looked this up. I don't think I saw it on the broadcast, but the most lopsided wins in Texans history. This game was 34 points, right? 44-10. I'll give you the top 5. 28 points. Houston beating the Titans in 2015. 29 points. Houston beating the Bengals 35-6 in 2008. 30 points. Houston beating the Ravens way back in 2012. Now tied for second at 34 points. This game, as well as Houston at Tennessee in 2011, that was a 41-7 win over the Titans. And I remember this game. 43 points. 2017, October 1st, 2017, Texans beat the Titans at NRG 57-14. So 43 point, that differential is the largest in Texans history. So now this is tied for number 2. Let's see. Justin says Jalen Noel was about to get jumped by the Ravens players for taking his first touchdown ball. Yes, and they came back to highlight that because it wasn't shown initially. I think they were in a replay. But, yeah, you got to get that first touchdown ball. Got to get it. Claude's starting to feel better about the Texans. Go Saints as well. Same thing. D'Amico always says playing complementary football. And, yes, that is indeed what the Texans did today. I do believe that the level of competition, the quality of the opponent is playing a role in here. Now, I'm sure that in the press conference in the locker room out in Baltimore, they are saying it's not easy to win any game in the NFL, and that is true, without a doubt. But what I really was impressed by was the first drive by the Texans, setting the tone. They were precise, they executed, they were proficient, and that really set the tone. In my mind, it really set the tone that the Texans were not going to mess around and play down to their level of competition. So once again, Justin says, when are you going to bring the guys back for a segment? Stutz and Landry. Man, oh man. Justin, do we have a treat for you? Because tonight, Cody Stutz from KHOUfootball.com, Landry Locker from The Locker Room. Together, they are SNL Texans Talk. They will be in studio tonight. And that's not all. We have B. Scott, Brandon Scott from Sports Radio 610. He will be in studio as well. And then Seth Payne, the great Seth Payne from Sports Radio 610, the former Texan and longtime family member here at KHOU 11, Seth Payne will be with us as well. So we have a great show tonight starting at 10:30. Cody Stutz, Landry Locker, Brandon Scott, and Seth Payne will be joining me for Sports Extra to talk all about this win as well as this offense renaissance. What is the cause of this? Plus, Nick Caserio likely will hold a bye-week news conference. What questions need to be asked, and how will he answer them? We'll have that all tonight on Sports Extra. Justin says, let's see, what do you think they do with Pierce? He is basically a non-factor, have Woody Marks getting more time than him. Dameon Pierce right now is basically a backup and maybe an insurance policy because he is, what you said, a non-factor. And it's one of those situations where I think instead of going and finding someone off the street, certainly someone would claim him if he was placed on waivers. But I think at this point, he's a backup at best. He has just not shown enough, obviously, as he was inactive for, I think this is the first game he was active, right? So it's one of those situations where he has not looked like the same player he was during his rookie season. We've seen flashes, like in the kicking game, returning, but yeah, he is obviously not the same guy. I don't know what the cause of that is. Some people have talked about scheme and things like that, but those are just some of the possibilities that have been thrown out there. Lupita, how long have we gone here?
17 minutes.
17 minutes. All right, we'll go for a few more minutes here. Let's see if I don't see if they've started yet over there. But anyhow, what do you think? What would you ask Nick Caserio if you were in my shoes, or a member of the press corps, if you will, going to NRG this week for Nick Caserio's bye-week news conference? What question would you ask him? Let me know here in the comments. Let's see. Yeah, we love having Landry and Cody on. They are very, very good at what they do, to say the least. And Brandon Scott always brings a great perspective, and Seth being the former player, it's just great having all those guys with us when they can join us. So if you have a second, I assume there'd be questions about the O-line, Justin says. Yes, I would think that would be first and foremost. My guess is the mood will be a little bit better, given that this team, after starting out 0-3, has won its last 2 games. But certainly the offensive line, why does he feel that it took so long to gel, if you could consider this gelling? We did see a bit of a change, Juice Scruggs getting much more time. I haven't looked at the snap count, but it appears that Juice Scruggs got much more time today than Tomlinson on the offensive line. But certainly that would be a question that Nick is going to get probably right at the start. I also think a possible question is, why did it take so long to get these draft picks, Marks, Noel, Higgins, involved in the offense? Were they not ready? Was it just a matter of playing behind the sticks, if you will, so much? Because the Texans, those first few games, they were beating themselves so much that it was hard for them to even get any forward progress on any drive. So those are certainly going to be some questions. And that's a topic that we will talk about tonight, as Cody and Landry and Brandon Scott will be with us. And certainly those guys will be in the news conference room, I imagine, that day as well. And I'm going to be interested to hear what they think, as well as what has jump-started or revived this offense to get it where it appears functional. Do you think KHOU has gone away from the Patriots-like plays? I don't know. I still think a lot of this has to do with the level of competition. And is that, now if you're saying if that's a question for Nick, I think he would probably bristle at that assumption. He would probably say, this is a hybrid offense, right? This isn't centered around one team, if that's what you mean, Justin. But certainly the play calls look a lot better when they're against a defense that is ranked at the bottom of the National Football League. We'll see. We'll see if they truly have momentum as they head into preparations for the Seattle Seahawks. And that will not be an easy game by any means, playing in that environment on a Monday night That's going to be a test, without a doubt. All right, everybody. I think that's going to do it. Your final on this abbreviated show is 44-10, but you already knew that. I appreciate all of your words. I think we're going to go with dominant and dominated because I think that best sums up what this game was all about. Once again, I appreciate all of you for checking in and giving your feedback, providing your insight as we break down another Texans game. This time it's a W as the Texans improve to 2-3. Your final, Houston 44, Baltimore 10. That's going to do it from here.